Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. Listen, giving you guys a live on your Ultimatum Season 3, Episode 1. Look, can't lie to you, my internet went out, so I do apologize for the format I'm doing it in. I usually do it with obviously my microphone and everything as well. But can I just say, listen, crazy, 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 crazy thing. I think watching episodes 3 to 5, I was vexed. That's what I'm going to say. My words are, I am vexed. And I'll tell you why I'm vexed. I'm vexed because when I watch people leave the process, who sneak out the process acting like they didn't know what they signed up for, and that if they don't go and get married after, why the frick did you come on the show? Right? You knew what you're getting yourself into. It was an ultimatum where you switch partners, and y'all are going to have to obviously break up. You knew this, okay? And I'm like, if you gave an ultimatum and the person doesn't marry you after, you've wasted your time. You've not done the process. You know what I mean? And so when I saw obviously Micah and Chanel. I saw Dave and Vanessa, and they snuck out the process. I was like, hold on a minute. Are you guys married now? I haven't even checked. Maybe I checked the internet and asked if any of them are engaged. Because if that was like a whole year ago, I'm guessing it was filmed. If you guys are not engaged, you've wasted your time. Like, and then the women that gave the ultimatum, you wasted your time. You're about to waste even more time because what has happened is when you gave that ultimatum, it set a ball in motion and it got it running, and you can't take that ball back anymore. So now, if you leave the process, that's fine. You can leave the process, but you're still gonna have to deal with what you're gonna deal with, right? Still gonna deal with what you're gonna deal with. And so I was mad disappointed by that. I can't lie to you. It was just annoying, to see. Yeah, it was just. I was just like, it's so silly, man. I was just this doesn't make no sense. And I was like, okay, I get it. Y'all didn't, um, I think to myself, you wasted your own time here because you could have been at home happily without doing this to your relationship. Now, of course, everybody is entitled to change their mind. Let's not put that there, right? Everybody's entitled to change their mind. My question is, will it change your relationship? My question is, does it change your particular relationship? Okay. And I'm looking at it and going, I don't see it changing Dave and Vanessa's issues because they're actually deeper issues now. We need to address, and there are bigger issues that need to go away. Mike and Chanel, we need to understand why you were here in the first place. Number one, number two, what were the issues here? You're talking about obviously not being married just yet. Did he give you a promise of when he was going to get married? Because as far as I'm concerned, he's about to keep pushing that date further and further and further and further and further and further and further away. Okay, and he's going to push it away because for him, right, he wants to get married when he feels like maybe everything's perfect, but everything will never be perfect. That's just life. Life is not perfect. So yeah, I saw that and I was like, okay, unless someone's going to change, you're wasting your time, and we're all wasting our time here. You know what I mean? And actually, this is not beneficial for anybody here going forward. So I saw that and I was just like, this ain't it. This ain't it. But want to get I put a link in the chat. If you want to obviously jump in by all means. Um, you know, I looked at it and I go, obviously, as well with Vanessa and Dave, we knew that Dave was manipulative and he was trying to manipulate her into kind of leaving already. And I spoke about that in episode 1 and 2, right? And to see that in episode 3, 4, and 5, you know, from between 3 and 5, and we see him actually work his magic of manipulation. Now she actually left with him, tells me all I need to know. I was like, sis, how serious are you? You're gonna be together, okay? You're gonna be together, but are you gonna have what you wanted, which is you wanted to be married? Now, I will say that obviously old boy Nick was crashing out anyway, so yeah, I get it. But yeah, these two leaving the show, I was like, sis, are you gonna actually learn what needs to be learned? Are you gonna grow from that? Are you actually going to develop further than that? Um, and so yeah, I looked and I go, ah, you're wasting your time. You know what I mean? You're gonna waste even further more of your time. Okay, so let's talk about obviously what happened in episode 3 to 5. I'm gonna breeze through it. I'm not gonna go full on detail because, like I said, I'm doing things on my phone, not on actual laptop. Okay, so can I be real? Okay, can I be real? Let me go through JR and Sandy. Okay, okay, JR and Sandy. I definitely think there's a connection there. Old boy slept with Sandy. Okay, if you haven't watched it, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm spoiling it a little bit. JR slept with Sandy. Okay, if I ask you a direct question and you deflect, you did it. You know what I'm saying to you? If I ask you a direct question and you start deflecting, you did it. And then obviously I have no clue what the beef is between. No, I know what it is. Scotty and Zaina situation where JR confronted Scotty because he heard some information that Scotty was bad mouthing JR. We couldn't see that because we don't have access to obviously conversations that happen in the gym. Okay, so whatever happened in the gym, we don't know. Okay, we have no clue. We don't really know. We just know there was a conversation between, well, apparently it's a conversation with Scotty bad mouthing JR and saying that he's only here to f around and not be a serious candidate. Now JR's obviously ended up effing around and not being a serious candidate. So my thing was it wasn't the room, it wasn't the fact that you shut the room that I thought they had sex. That the video of them being in a room doesn't conclude anything. We knew they slept in the same bed. It's the fact that when they asked him, "Did you sleep with her?" and he said, "Well, sleep in the same bed." We're not little kids. If somebody says, "Did you sleep with her?" you saying I slept in the same bed, you know what I'm asking. Why would I ask you? If I want to ask you, if I want to ask you if you slept in the same bed, I would have said to you, "Did y'all sleep in the same bed?" But if I ask you, did you sleep with her? And you say, listen, I mean, we slept in the same bed. Nah, bro. It's called deflection. It's manipulative. And it's a way of you assuading people from actually finding out the real information. And that, for me, was where it was confirmed. I was like, well, then you're foolish. You know what I'm saying to you? So um, I was like, you didn't do yourself any favors. And yes, that's very true. When Sandy started talking about how great JR is for her, that's when I knew she slept with him. That's when I knew the Wicked Witch had landed and the Wicked Wizard had slept together. Okay? Because it was so uncouth and so dysregulated from Sandy when she started talking about JR and telling Zaina information, which wasn't like she was snitching, but it was just so left field, some of the things she was saying. And I said, nah, the Wicked Witch has struck. I said, that's a guilty admission if there was one. Like a guilty admission. I said, baby, you guilty. You guilty, you guilty, you guilty, you are guilty. Right? And your guilty conscience is making you talk to Zaina in a particular way that you don't really need to tell her stuff. Like you're telling her stuff that doesn't really need to be said. I was like, yeah, you're guilty. You did it. You know what I'm saying too? Because you volunteered information you don't need to volunteer. I was like, yeah, you got a guilty conscience because there's nothing that Sandy was saying in this immediate moment when you're having to sit down that needed to be discussed. In all honesty, there was nothing. And then obviously as well we saw, you know, I think obviously it was Sandy and JR. They had a conversation about cheating, and I said, oh. I said a conversation about cheating. I said, oh, I said, yeah, you're moving a bit mad still. I can't lie to you. You're moving a bit mad still. I ain't gonna lie to you. The cheating conversation had me left. I said, Sandy, what are you trying to do? Why is Sandy out here trying to have a conversation about cheating? And he's saying he's gonna leave immediately. I was like, okay. Sandy's like, no, don't leave. You just so cutthroat. No, babe, why you wanna stay when someone cheats on you? You don't want to stay, you know what I mean? And I guess maybe she might be thinking that maybe what they're doing is technically cheating. But technically, they actually are single. So, um, sorry, there's a spider there. I had to kill it. But technically, what they're doing, they are actually single. So, in some sense, they're not actually cheating. But again, it depends on what rules and boundaries you guys actually spoke about before you ended your process and got into it. I see, Elsid. And then obviously as well, JR met the parents. Now that, whew, baby, you know, we're going to talk about Nick's crashing out. Okay, so here's my thing. I didn't have a problem with Nick crashing out on the sofa. I didn't have a problem with him crying on the sofa. He lost his girl, yeah, and he knew that. And now a black man has taken over his place. Okay, I had no problems with that. What I had an issue with is one, the spying, and two, him going to the house. Now that part was my problem. Number number one, you already messaging and calling her already, so that was what you had access to her. But number two, the bigger crash out was actually when you turned up at the house to talk to her, and I said, "Oh damn, bro, you crashing out." You crashing out, bro. You know what I'm saying too? At that point, I realized, bro, this is a very sad effect. It's a very sad effect. I said, listen, bro, like you crashing out like this, bro. I get why you feel the way you do, but the way you're crashing out, bro, it's not helping anybody's case in this moment. I don't mind. You were crying on the sofa. That's real. You were cuddled up on the sofa. That's real. You did art therapy. That's real. But the reality situation was, right, you guys are committed to breaking up, and the problem with it is you weren't actually committed. The reason why, and just like most of the couples that usher an ultimatum, it is not really an ultimatum. Really and truly, you're trying to get the person to do what you want them to do. This is why you come on a show. If I give an ultimatum, I'm ready to walk. That's why I'm giving you an ultimatum. I need to let go and be on my way. And um, crashing out like that told me that you weren't serious about the ultimatum. Because as soon as you knew she was moving like that, you should be like, I appreciate it. I gotta go. Right? Like as soon as that happened, you should have been like, you know what? I gotta go. It's time. Like I gotta bounce. Like because in reality, right? I've issued the ultimatum. Old girl's out here sleeping with another man. My time's up. But instead he crashed out. Yeah, I said, yeah. Yeah, I said, "Oh man, brother, you already had her phone number." So, and she was even on, and at that point, I already knew that she was done with you because she was out here laughing at you. Um, you know, I said, when she started laughing at you, I was like, "Yeah, Jr., let this one go. Okay, this ain't the one you need to be crashing out over. This girl don't care about you. No offense to you, bro. The girl doesn't care about you. Maybe not anymore. Maybe she did in the beginning. Whatever, but she doesn't care about you because that girl, okay, all right, had sex with another man, was talking to you on the phone, okay, was talking to you on the phone whilst you're crashing out on the phone, was doing whispers to her man. Yeah, that's crazy work. That's crazy work. Now, obviously, if you've cheated before, been a person who's been cheated, you're the person that the person is cheating with. You know how this works. It's crazy work. You know how this works. It's yeah, it's tight. That's what I'm gonna say. It's tight. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much. Like I said, I'm gonna be here for max half an hour. I'm not gonna lie to you because I gotta go. My data will not last, so it will actually cut me off. So I see Elsie's there. So let me bring her on stage. Yes, Elsie.
Hey, what's up?
What's good? What's good? Yeah, man. Episode 3 to 5 was a crash out. It was crazy.
I was waiting for you to get to this part. I was waiting because I knew it was just madness. But I stand by it. I'm sorry. Nick, you can cry. Men can cry. I don't believe him. I think it's fake. I think it's phony. I think Nick is just using his tears to control. He's using his tears, using his weep weep, because even when he tried to talk to JR and apologize, he turned it around to me. I've never cried so much. I never been this upset. I've never. He didn't ask how is Sandy doing. It was all about Nick. Nick was like, Mariah clocked him. Mariah said, hey, he's using his art as escapism and not therapy. But again, Nick is just, I stand by it. I said at first, Sandy is probably, lashing out because Nick is trying to control her too much. And I saw it. Saw it. I totally saw it. I was like, Nick was just giving me control. And Sandy's just giving me young lady that wants to just still have fun and have party, Nick is screaming, I want to retire and go out into the mountains, go as far away from civilization and chillax. And it immediately set my bells going off saying, Nick is starting with isolation.
Yeah, no, I think with Nick, I think there is some. I mean, that's I mean, personally, me personally, I think both of them are a bit of a mismatch, and I think they actually trigger each other. I think she wants the freedom to be herself and be able to be a free bird and be free spirited, and obviously she's in a space of her life. So, and he's in a bit more calm down. I want to be able to marry stage, and what it is a clash of ideals. It's a clash of of viewpoints on where they want to go in life, and actually triggering on both sides, right? But yeah, Nick's crash out here was legendary, okay? Because it was legendary because I think he always knew it was coming. Personally, I think he always knew it was coming. I think you know your day is coming, and even if you're prepared, it's still difficult to deal with when you're seeing it happen, right, in live. I just wish he handled it better. I'm not talking about him crying on the sofa once more again. I don't have an issue with that. Even escapism, I wasn't necessarily too fussed about that, but it's the way, like I said, he went to the house, did all of that. I think also as well, you know, when he issued the apology, like you said, when he issued the apology to JR, he actually flipped it again after. So he actually wasn't really apologizing. What he was apologizing for is I made a scene and I made her look stupid to the rest of the world. And so really I got to apologize to make sure I keep this good image. But it wasn't really a real apology because he flipped it anyway. So yeah, that was my issue I had with JR in that situation, that he flipped it in that respect and didn't actually honor that apology towards JR. Now, of course, obviously, technically you guys are single. You know what I'm saying to you? I keep saying technically
Technically,
because it's a technical. I do understand the frustrations. You know what I'm saying to you? It's technically, you know what I mean? But
that's your
at the end of
ex.
the day, it is your ex. Yeah, exactly. It's your ex. But I also understand that, and that's why this show doesn't, for me, and other shows like this are very dangerous because it removes the aspect that you guys broke up, but you're still emotionally connected. So even though you are physically disconnected and you've made a choice, you're still emotionally having to disconnect, and that takes some time. And so I can understand the frustration.
My problem with them is that Nick Nick is a wild child. Nick does not look like, based on the edit, that he has some emotional regulation. Him coming to the door, JR closes it on it and he still bangs on the door to get in again. There is no camera people there. There is no security. There's no line between Nick and JR. So I'm like, y'all are putting these people in a dangerous situation. JR is well within his rights if he wanted to just, make sure Nick didn't come across his threshold. But y'all are putting these people in a dangerous situation. And the way Sandy reacted tells me this ain't the first time. This ain't the first time that Nick has wilded out on her or around her or about her. But yeah, Nick gave me everything I needed to see outwardly what I was thinking of him. He gave it to me. The wailing, crying, but you you pick yourself up and you go bang on the door to get in to talk to Sandy. And when she tells you go away, you go home to wail and cry. Yeah, it was beyond crash out. That was tsunami out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also an indication of that crash out. Also indicates, I think, who liked who more. You know what I mean, or who felt they were losing more. You know what I mean? Like, he caught himself a little young baddie. You know what I'm saying? To a couple of years younger, 10 years younger. He's probably thinking, I've collected an awesome one here, and now that dream is fading. And as he lost that grip of the fade of the dream, he's crashed out crazily. But yeah, I did think it was a bit crazy that he stepped to the door like that, closed the door, and then he still stepped. I was like, yo, this is wild. I wasn't even thinking even protection wise. I was just thinking to myself, the fact that, what, like, you actually have access to her. You could have called her. You actually have access to her. Which was what was even fascinating me the more. 'Cause I thought in previous seasons, maybe I'm making it up. In previous seasons, they weren't calling each other. And
They
also
were
number
not.
two, they weren't, were they?
They weren't.
That's what. So it's really weird, I guess. And was it as long as because this is 4 weeks? But is
Right.
it
It
usually
was.
4 weeks?
It's not a month. No, this is
It's one
long. I
week
think because
usually.
I think it's because the others left.
Because I thought usually Ultimatum was 1 week.
Yes.
So when I heard 4, I said, wait, 4 weeks? I said, at that point, not even are you broken up, you are done. And it's almost impossible for that person not to catch feelings on the other side. 4 weeks. Because you've been on that side for 4 weeks and you have no longer contact. Well, everyone did have contact. But, sitting in a house with somebody for 4 weeks, sitting in a house with somebody for a week is long enough. But 4 weeks, or 3 weeks, however it is, to be in a house with someone else who's not your man or not your girl, whew,
And laying up in the bed with them.
you gonna cause problems.
Laying up in the bed. We ain't talking about the roommates who are doing, the facials at night or doing the s'mores. We ain't talking about that friendly couple. But I guess Coach will be back. We ain't talking about that friendly couple. We're talking about folks that have an attraction laying next to each other, over the course of the whole time. I I'm sorry, Caleb and Aria. I'm sorry. I just couldn't deal with them. They are roomies as compared to JR and Sandy. But yeah, JR and Sandy staying together for a month. Yeah, 3 weeks or a month. Aria and Caleb can, because they were just chillaxing. Now Aria looking like she got stars in her eyes, and Caleb is like, "Girl, stay over there and be respectful."
Caleb said, "Listen, I wasn't trying to leave my girl. Never was. I just wanted to make her see that she needed to have a bit more independence."
Totally. Caleb
Sorry.
was like,
Yeah. JR was trying. Oh wait. All right. Can you see me,
"Caleb,
guys?
you're back." Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh boy. Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, you can hear
Yes.
me. Okay, cool. But I can't. Okay, cool. It will come back on in a second. Let me see if I can just make sure. So, yeah, no. With obviously, Caleb, like he was like, and you saw the way he said, "I'm not saying this to Maria. I'm not telling her it's a deeper emotional connection." And Maria, and obviously, Aria was like, "Why not? And like, why am I telling her that? I'm going because in his head, it's like, I'm going back to her, bro. Like, I'm not leaving you for her." Oh, do you like the fact I haven't made a move on you in 3 weeks should tell you I'm not trying to do anything with you. You know what I mean? Like that was one of the realest things I've ever seen, because he was not trying to do. I'm not saying he wasn't like open, but he was not trying to sleep with her. He's not trying to physically. That's what even made her even more draw into him. But he wasn't actually moving. So for him, he's going back. So it's not like
Yeah.
he's leaving. He just wanted his girlfriend to see that, baby, you needed more independence. And actually, she did. She realized she had to need more independence. So technically, for him, out of everybody else, his actual risk has actually worked. But yeah, no, in that sense, yeah, Arya was actually deeper than she actually, wanted to really admit in that situation. I know she said about emotional connection, but baby, in that space, you went from I don't really have a connection, I'm just trying to be friends, to now being a deep, as she described it, a deep emotional connection, as she said herself by her own words, to the point where you want to snitch to the
Yes.
other girl. That is not a connection. That at that point, baby, you're about to pass the line that you think you are willing to pass, which I understand as well. So, and
I
yeah,
think
Jay to the stage and
what came to mind. What came to mind was Biggie's "Don't Blow Up My Spot" because we both got hot. But it's only Aria getting hot in this case. It ain't Caleb. Caleb is like, "We roomies. Let's do our facials and let's go to bed. I'll stay on the couch." Jay?
Yeah, hi.
Miss
Listen,
episode
I, I'm
3.
yeah, I'm only up to episode 3, and it's listen. I had to try to sit down and watch it today because I was like, if I don't watch it today, I'm never gonna get into it. I tried to watch it 2 days in a row, and I was preoccupied. So yeah, but um, as far as okay, so Arya, we talking about Arya and Caleb right now, right? So as far
Yes.
as I am right now, where I'm up to them or whatever, poor little Arya is that she just wants somebody to love her or whatever. and she's ready to go anywhere because at first she was ready to be on JR until JR moved on and shifted a different way, and she settled for Caleb. So where y'all talking about is like, okay, I guess she's like, I settled here. Let me try to invest my time over here to make it seem like it's something. Maybe, I don't know if she's trying to play a little dark arts. I wait till I see it or whatever, but she could be trying to play a little dark arts to be, but it fell into her own little trap of
Seem like it.
trying to.
Yep.
hmm So I'm gonna see when I get there. I don't know. Maybe she's just a genuine open person that is ready to fall for anybody at this point, but
I think she is, especially when we see how snappy Scotty can get.
hmm
Because with Caleb and Arya, she had to drag her chair closer to Caleb to hold hands, and he was holding hands like if it's at the nail salon, and you're checking my fingers to make sure it's even. That's how Caleb clearly said, "I just want you and Mariah to feel respected."
Caleb always gave that presence of I'm halfway in this. I'm not really trying to be here. I just want her. I'm fulfilling this need because he want to be here. Like Coach said, I want my girl. I'm just here to wait time until she realized I'm just trying to let you live a little bit. I'm not trying to take away your life and have you have regrets. But then I also question him on that end too, is like, why are you kind of hesitant? You're trying to put it on her to say, like, I want to give you more life. Okay, Jay-Z, I get it. But what is she really doing that calls for her to like not disrupt her life? It's not like what's the one that lived long distance? I can't why her can't remember. That's the one
It's
that's with
Arya and Scotty.
is it Arya? That's what Arya?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it is Arya. I'm seeing that other girl. That's why the one he's with, Scotty's linked with
Dana.
now. Yeah. But it's not like her so much where it's like I get her on her end is she just got her job and she's starting this whole new thing or whatever. She kind of settled in and she want to make some stuff happen a little bit more. It sounds like
Sound like Scotty ain't got
Mariah is more settled. Yeah. Mariah's more
Sounds like
settled into who she is.
Sound like Scotty ain't got a bag because she said, I don't want to live, or be restricted based on his money.
Yeah. Well, that, and then it also might be a little fair because I'm like, well, what was looking like? She said she was the one who said her mom struggled when she was living with her mom, right? Is that her whose mom?
Mariah.
Oh, that was Mariah's parents that separated? Okay.
Yes. Arya's parents separated when she was in college. They had an open relationship for a time, which this is Arya. And she is distrustful of men because of it. But I was like, girl, your mama kept the information from you too. She just remembered a lot of women being around, she said. So
not a in-house open relationship. Oh wow.
Well,
That's wild.
She didn't know. But Mariah said her mother never let her go out and ride a bike.
Yeah, she was strict.
Right.
She was strict. So I get her man.
She's doing that to Caleb.
Yeah, I get that about her man though. It's like, you never experienced life. I want you to experience, but I think he would have been better off saying, let me help you experience it with me. So that's why I'm like, what's your hold up, sir? If you really want this woman, why are you held up? Because she can experience life with you. You can bring her new experiences, some that you've had and some that y'all never had. I mean, you never had, and you can have them together. Right. So it's kind of like you're making excuses. So what's your excuse?
I think he's trying to make her have some distance and be okay. Because what we learned later, Jay, is that whenever he's on trips, she is constantly calling and reaching out to him.
I was about to say, is she a stage 5? Stage 4, huh?
It sounded like that, but Mariah said she thought that what she was doing was just, good communication between just having open communication, but it's just too much. Caleb is like, it feels like she don't trust him.
Yeah, it's a bit of her childhood too. I'm sorry, Coach.
No, you're on it. I was gonna say
I was about to say it's a bit of her childhood too, because being that, like she said, her mother was when her mother was there, all she had was her mother. So now she's trying to find another person who fills that void of all I have, because that's all she knows. She didn't get the experience being out with other people and having different lives and stuff. I think maybe he just be wording it when he communicates it to her in a way she doesn't understand. And it still doesn't negate the hesitancy of being married though. It's something else about her he doesn't like.
is a
Absolutely.
stage 5 clinger. Is the she gonna be if she wasn't emotionally regulated, she would be at the door pounding on the door.
She think.
But
Leave
she
me
clocked Nick. She
alone.
clocked Nick. She said, "Hey, I've seen Caleb and Arya out. I've gotten anxiety, but she's like, I haven't done anything. I go about my business." She's trying to tell Nick how to calm down, and Nick is like, "Forget that. Boom, boom, boom. Knock on the door."
Which is
Yeah,
where Nick hooked up with Vanessa, and I was just like, "That's your match right there. That's your
great.
person."
Now, really, he
Mm.
was stepping away from her from the mixer before they
Yeah,
showed.
Yeah, when she was drunk.
yeah.
Yeah, he was not
But I was like,
involved.
that's more of the person you want, though. If
But
you
he
can
knows
blend,
Agreed.
if he could blend the two, that he will have a perfect woman. I know, but
but he pushed Vanessa out the door when he was
Hmm.
crashing out about Sandy at the beginning.
Yeah.
Vanessa's like, "Wait a
mm,
minute, what happened?"
yeah, he definitely at that table when when Sandy was giving her little spiel and he heard Jr. He was like, uh, F you, Vanessa, F you in this process.
Exactly. Now we understand why he wailing, but he issued the ultimatum. He brought her there.
Yeah, well,
And remember, don't forget what the family said. The family said Sandy been given in this relationship, and that JR is finally a man she's with that's pulling his own weight.
Damn.
oh, well, see,
He's an
that's wild
artist.
because he would make it seem like he's been, ooh, okay.
I didn't
Oh,
know
so he not Jay-Z. Okay, she the whole Beyonce by herself.
that.
Right. I thought at first that Nick being, this
Yes.
stereotypical older guy running the show or, the money of the relationship. But the way the mom and the sister and the friend talked about it in their visit, it seemed like, she's carrying the load. But as an
Political.
artist, an artist has a life of feast or famine.
Hmm.
So,
That's very tight. No, that's very, very tight. Definitely.
but but Mama was all about JR and his tattoos too. Did you see that?
I didn't see that part. I didn't see the mum. I thought the mum didn't like him at first, but I think she did at the end. But I think she was a bit skeptical at first. But hey, someone said Nick ain't holding a job. I
Not the
mean,
new Kardashians.
it did look a bit
Not
like that
making a
still.
whole new job.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It was interesting actually watching it. And I think obviously, sorry, I know it was about Nick and Sandy, but I think with the Caleb part, there's a bit of an issues on both sides, right? I think with Caleb, I think he can be a little bit withdrawn, and I think that also makes it feel like she's doing so much because she's also sensing the withdrawnness, right? And then so it looks like because obviously in this situation, what we don't realize is Caleb and Arya are the same people. They're both withdrawn when it comes to emotions. It's just that Arya in this space, for her, this was perfect for her because somebody who's withdrawn is not emotionally triggering her. So in that space, he gets to hold the same position and she gets to shift and move, which is why she moved so quickly. So it was like this was comfortable for her because he held position and did not overly express how he felt. Now, had he started feeling like, I like you, I've always thought you're very pretty, da 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 da, she would have been like, okay, no, 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 right? So we see with Caleb. Caleb is very different from Scotty. Now, the only issue we're gonna have here is that eventually it becomes a power play. So whilst Caleb looks amazing now, it is only now because right now his mind is I'm going back to my girlfriend. And when you're going back to your girlfriend, there is no pressure for you in the way you're acting. Now, had his mind and thought process been, what, actually, I want to be with Arya, you'd have seen the fear come up. But there's no fear for Caleb because he's not going back. You get what I'm saying to you? So that's why I said that I'm looking at Caleb and I look at Mariah and I see that both of them, I don't even like even saying the problem, but both of them have triggers. So it's like that dismissive and anxious kind of cycle over again where it's like, where if she draws too close, he wants to run away. And it's like, it feels like it's too much. It feels like it's too heavy. Because if you really listen to what he said, he wants to be financially stable before he gets married. But when he was explaining it, it wasn't fully clear Okay, so you want to be financially completely stable. Okay, so where are you now? Are you saying you're completely unstable? Are you saying you ain't got a job? Are you saying that you ain't got no money? Like, what are you really describing? It takes money to make a marriage work. Okay, so now it sounds like we're making excuses. So what are we really saying here? Like, what's it? And Arya was nodding her head like, yeah, I think the same thing. And I said, okay, you two are the same people. This is why this is gonna work, right? For now, because both of you are actually kind of reserved and holding back your emotions. And until you realized when when Arya starts shifting, and you see how he holds his ground. When she's like, "Well, let me tell her that it's more than that." He's like, "Wait, hold on a minute. That is not what we signed up for, my darling. What's the point? What's the point of telling him that?" And if it had gone on further, I tell you that if we had more weeks of them, you'd have seen more power play between the two of them because she would have pushed for more because now she's emotionally committed. She's gonna feel like she's been left exposed and vulnerable, and now it will be a game of power. Like, you're not gonna expose me and be vulnerable. Now she's gonna try and see, do you actually care about me? I'm gonna have to make sure I know, do you actually care about? So you'd have seen more of that, but we didn't really get to see it with that as much. It was getting there, but hadn't got there. So it was quite interesting to see that, as well.
But we now understand why Arya behaves that way based on the snapping turtle that Scotty was with Zanaya.
Mm.
The did you actually eat without me? And she's like, I thought you did. He's like, you thought wrong. That little bit of the turtle putting his head out with Scotty, I'm like, that's exactly why Arya doesn't want to depend on him, because I think he would be snappy and he would just, take the rug out from under you because you displeased him.
Okay, thank you, Elsie, because I was wondering about that part when I seen that first snap in episode 1 or whatever, when he snapped, and I
Right.
was like, are you just trying to snap right now because of the situation, because you're giving her the ultimatum and you're saying that her emotions are fake, or is this you? Because if this is you, this is a problem, and you wonder why she don't want to commit. Like, you need to fix that, sir.
Yeah, Scotty's outburst. Well, first his dangling earring wigged me out. Okay, that was the first thing with Scotty. So I was watching him real side eye. Then his snappy yelling at her at the mixer in front of everyone. That is scary. That is very scary. And then snapping at Zanaya after 3 weeks, and y'all were all hunky dory, and just tell me you don't want to be taken out. I was like, okay, Arya, I understand why you not taking him up on his ultimatum or his proposal.
Now I'm going to defend him a little bit. You know
The
what I mean? I'm
dangling
going.
earring.
Not the January, that one's got to go. But I'm gonna defend him a little bit. Maybe in the sense of not defend him, but rather in the sense of maybe I understand where he was coming from, right? I think in that, well, the first part, I didn't really get that part because I don't know what that snapping was about. Personally, the first one, that argument where they had where she came to him, right? But the part with Zaynab, I did understand it, right? I think the crash out happened because, like many people that have an insecure attachment, he overread the situation. He overanalyzed the situation, and because when I say overanalyze, he might have been right. But once you start over engineering and then you start making judgments without making inquiries, you're going to end up crashing out the way he did, right? Because I was watching it with my sister actually, the first 5 episodes, right? And I said, and she clocked it too, and I said, she's not actually invested as the way Scotty is. And I'm not saying that she doesn't want him. I'm saying she's not as invested. And it's because she kept on saying trial husband, trial husband, trial husband, trial husband. And I said, she's subtly indoctrinating you, letting you know that actually, as much as she does like you and probably would think about it, and she did make a comment to her friend saying she'll be single or she'll choose someone else, she didn't really allude it was him. She said she might lead us with somebody. Why don't you just say his name? Because that's the only person you're going to connect with, or you are going to go single, right? Whilst he was having to be a bit more, he was a bit more, how do I say, flowery with his language in terms of how he felt about her, etc., right? So he already made his position known. Whilst I was waiting for her to kind of like reciprocate that in the same way, she didn't necessarily reciprocate. So I said, okay, she's not as invested just yet as in making a decision. First and foremost, because her man is JR. Okay, you just can't give that up now. Okay, you just can't give that man up now. But the other aspect of that, was yes, because he's a very handsome man. But the other aspect of that is that conversation. I understood what happened, right? He proposed to, and he's obviously, and this is also a part of the dismissive trait, as well, for a lot of people who are dismissive avoidance, like, but also anxious people too, is that you overread a situation. So when he said about cryotherapy and said about, oh, like, yo, like these two ideas, hot air balloon, right? He said the two ideas and he personalized what she said. When she said no, she wasn't saying no to him. She was saying no to the ideas. But for many people who have an insecure attachment, which is not just people like Scotty, even if you don't show emotion, people do this and over personalize. Anybody with an insecure attachment tends to personalize certain behaviors that happen to them. Just that the reactions are very different. Some people, like with Scotty, he's maybe far more reactive in the sense of being external, whereas other people are like, "Oh, I saw that. I'm going to quietly slink into the darkness." But in that moment when he kind of like quote unquote snapped, if you want to call it, it was because, as he admitted, rejection, and that sadness that he had. And I think at least he was able to admit that and say it and let her know that, you know what, I did feel rejected in this moment. Maybe he could have explained it a bit better, but at least he explained that he did feel rejected in that place. So that's why he was having that moment. And I understood, because I was waiting to see, would she give him another option, right? Because if I say to you, do you want to go out? Here are two places we can go out. And you say, no, no, but don't give me an alternative. I can see when you're not healed how easily someone can read that and be like, they don't want to go out with me. You know what I'm saying to you? Because you're not fully sure of that other person, because you don't have a baseline for whether they actually want to be with you or not. You know what I'm saying to you? And even if you do, sometimes you overread it. So that's what I would say. I'm not saying that he's perfect, and I'm not saying that he don't need to heal. He needs to heal. But
Well, no.
I did understand it in that
So
space.
as that can be true and stuff like that, and I can see where you're coming from on that end, the also fact that can be true too is that she's going to be hesitant because she did watch you snap out on somebody you supposedly care about, like on the first night. You know what I'm saying? So there could be a bit of hesitancy from her end why she say my trial husband, my trial this, that, oh, I'm not going to fully invest myself, because there is still that side of you that is proceed with caution. It's a yellow flag that I've seen. Because if I see you out here snapping, I might like you or whatever, but I see you snap on somebody that you supposedly care about, it's going to be like, oh, I can only imagine the day that you do it to me. So let me proceed with caution with you. Let me just keep my guard up and keep you at a fair distance until I actually see if you're worthy enough for me to go further. So there's also that side of the aspect too, where she's kind of hesitant just because of what she already seen from him.
Great point.
That's my point.
And his story with his behavior doesn't mesh with his story with the loss of his dad. And he said he had, an argument with his dad. He did not return "I love you," and then the next day his dad passed away. I have seen people not react in the same way. They would, course correct and not do that, because you may not have another day with your partner. So he kind of gives me mixed signals.
I think that's what abandonment looks like, right? I think that for that's what abandonment can look like, right? When you're reacting, being triggered by abandonment. This is why I said that I really do understand him. I have some sympathy for him in this space, because I understood it, in that particular moment. He felt rejected. He felt like he's going to be abandoned, and those are very strong emotions that can elicit. It's the reaction from that feeling that we are concerned about, right? And if there's
But not in the mixer.
at a mixer, not a mixer, no,
She
but with
didn't abandon him.
no, she didn't. Yeah, he was more frustrated, I think, with her. I think he was more frustrated with her impeding on his process, rightly or wrongly. I think he was more frustrated with her impeding on his process, right? And with the whole, now you're giving me tears and emotions about the situation, when we could have been doing this way back. You know what I'm saying to you? But I still don't. I'm not giving him a pass for it. I'm saying that more maybe explanation, but
He was
that one
giving
I
me
don't
more
think.
manipulative in that moment. That
Mm,
was what I was seeing. I was seeing, because I seen when you did the live and you was talking about her and her tears or whatever, but I can understand her tears a lot more, especially because you probably never thought you had these feelings for somebody like this strong, this deeply, and to actually see them interacting with a person as far as to, it could be as simple as holding hands, but you never seen that of your person. You never had that insecurity brought about in you because you guys have been two separate lives and she been focused on doing her thing. Now it's in her face. That can make you feel some type of way. And you just never know. Some people blow up in anger. Some people just go and cry. Some people get real cold. So her way was to break down and cry. And the only reason I feel like that is because as we continue to go, she kept crying. It was just like this thing. And it wasn't even when he was around. She was crying without him being around. She was genuinely bothered by how she actually felt. She even expressed that, like, I don't really be jealous, but I'm feeling something like this is weird. Like, I don't know how to control it. So until you kind of like in the situation and you kind of like practice being and seeing your person be with other people, this is not an easy thing to take on. So I can kind of see it. And then him sitting there starting, the first thing he come out of his mouth is, what do you talk with who? Holding hands with who? Touching who? Like, who else, bro? Like, I just interrupted you with who? Like, stop playing in my face. So for him to just go from lying and then snapping all that, it was giving manipulative now because you're trying to flip the tables. You know why she's over here acting so. But you can also remind her, hey, this is part of the process. You didn't have to flip on her. We both signed up for this. You agreed. You know what I'm saying? I gave you the ultimatum, but hey, it's for both of us. The ultimatum was in both of our favors. Like, I might find my person. Okay, there's your juice. Okay, nephew. Sorry, I'm a nephew.
No, I don't disagree with that at all. I don't think she necessarily did anything wrong personally. Coming up to save him, I think he didn't handle it the best way. I think there was more expression that he probably wanted to express, right? I think he could have expressed it a bit better in terms of what he wanted to say he was really feeling, and maybe because really and truly how he really felt, he wasn't really committed to saying how he really felt about it, right? I think Elsa joked around and said, obviously, it's given you didn't want me now, you want me now, but you didn't want me then, right? And sometimes people can see that as manipulation, right? And then be frustrated by that. And instead of actually reassuring the person, they're actually more vexed because they're like, you don't do this normally. Why are you doing this now? Like, you don't normally express that you feel some way towards me. You don't express that you like me, you love me, you want to emotionally connect with me. And suddenly now, when the process and I'm connected with another chick that's considered to be a baddie, and now you're doing what you're doing. That's not to say that, again, it's just more of an explanation. Again, once more, I can understand where he was also coming from in that space. That it's like, now you want me because I'm talking to another girl. Like, get off me, man. Like, you're making a scene. And also, I can't win in this situation. You start crying, I can't win. Because people are going to look at me and go, she's crying. What did you do to make her cry? You know what I'm saying? Why isn't he
But in that
controlling her?
situation, technically in that situation, he could have, not to cut you off, but he could have won. Like I said, if he'd have just handed it without raging out and stuff and just been like, hey, when we signed up for this process, we both agreed to talk to other people. This is the chance that we are both taking. So save your tears, sis. Like, save it to, like, go on about your business. Go over there back by your man and keep a conversation. But yet in that moment, he tried to flip it on, well, how long you and JR was talking, even though she tried to be slick. Now, she did try to be slick in that part by sitting there bringing up, I can do the same thing with JR. Like, yeah, you knew that was going to strike a chord with him. Like, okay. So when he tried to flip it back, like, oh, I see you both. You both like to play these little tic-tac games. Like, all right.
Yeah.
But they don't live in the same city.
So yeah, but you can still do it though from different spaces.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, it's very distant doing it over the phone. They probably play those games together, and they have not for 8 months. They haven't, and now they back on the playing games right in each other's face. And I think
it is different when it's in the face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's quite different when it's in your face. It's like, okay, I thought I was playing real good, but I see. I gotta step my game up. Yeah. Especially when you when you're not having somebody to connect with either, and you see your partner have somebody that they actually connected with. That ain't nothing more frustrating than that.
Yeah, it's very, very tight. That's very, very tight. So,
and that's probably why JR didn't pick her, because Aria looks like commitment.
She is commitment with emotions.
Right, and he don't want none of that. He's trying to get away from the little emotions he get.
From Zaynab.
He don't want no big ones.
And he said, "Hey, and hey, what are your thoughts about social media and spouses?"
You know what was crazy to me her name is Zanat, right? The one was with Scotty. Is her, how you say her name? Zaina,
Zanaya, Zaina,
Zanaya,
Zaina.
whatever. Z. I'm just gonna call her Z. She, I know she says she was feeling a little some type of way, but she was not giving she was feeling any type of way herself. She was like, it seemed like for a second, sis is ready to play this game. She like, okay, JR, you want to be out there? I'm gonna show you out there. I was like, okay, sis. Okay.
Zaina and JR are giving me that he was her personal trainer, and we're gonna do this show.
That's I was like, are these the ringers for the season? Because that's definitely giving ringers for the season. Like
But
they brought in to bring some mess.
so who do we think said that JR only here to have a scorecard and play games? I think it's Nick, because he all up in his feelings.
JR said it because I'm thinking it's JR.
No, JR said somebody here. He blaming Scotty. He blamed Scotty and said, "Hey, I heard you got my name in these streets saying that I'm just here to play games."
But you are, sir. You just no, I'm not even saying he's trying to play games. He's just trying to get him a quickie up in, and he knew that going with Sandy it was a better chance than going with Arya or whatnot.
And
But without the attachment,
Scotty
excuse me,
saying,
without the attachment.
Scotty saying, "Hey, that ain't how I roll. I'm gonna come to you." But the way Nick was changing the conversation. Oh, so you slept with my girl? I was like, Nick, you changing. You're the one. My money is on Nick.
I can see that though. I can
More
see
than
that.
likely.
Nick gives me every night. I got to fight to prove my love.
And you got to paint the walls every night. Before we used to be sliding down the walls. Now we painting the walls.
Every night I got to fight to prove my love.
That's what
Because
Scotty said.
they be in a bar, coyote ugling on the counters.
Right.
Damn.
The way that I'm sorry. Sandy was a cougar. Like she was a straight predator. She was like, "Ooh, JR." And I watched how she played the other men so they wouldn't have an attraction to her,
Right.
just so she can get to JR. I was like, oh, "Okay, I see you, sis." And then telling JR, "You need to chase me. You need to do this." I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, she did say that. She started putting on that apparent Scorpio energy that she says she has, but yeah,
She plays the prey for the right
person,
predator.
which is why Nick was also crashing out because he can see it. Now, I'm not giving him an excuse because you still not need to fall for it. There's a way you have to address it, and he didn't address it well, and he fell out
She,
and crashed out from space to Earth. But he did see it, and he knew. But he knew because he had it. It happened to him.
he said she looks at you now the way she used to look at me.
Damn, that's a crash out right there. It's crash worthy.
That is the last line in a great to be movie.
Yeah.
Not the great Tubi movie.
That's precisely
I
the
mean,
description.
it's given that's almost how he got her anyway in the first.
Yeah,
You know, there's still a little bit in
more than
here. You want the
likely.
rest?
Sounds like
More
how
than
you
likely.
got her is how you're gonna lose her, because remember they start off with her drunk calling, drunk texting.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. You should be happy that you should be proud that I call you drunk. That means you're my person. Okay.
And I stand by every scene I see Sandy in, she is holding a goblet. Every scene.
Oh.
She
Yes,
says,
yes, baby. Every scene she's holding a goblet.
Why he shake his head yes just now?
"I'm gonna drink my way into that,
Even
baby."
in the
Okay.
pool, hugging on JR and those muscles, she could have had two hands on them muscles. She had one on a goblet. I'm not saying she ain't
it's
drinking water, but she's certainly drinking.
it's the fact if I put him on camera right now with him in this little juice bottle he got while he's trying to take it all the way down. He understands. He understands Sandy's pain.
But no, it was a good first 5 episodes. We have some runners, we have some track stars, and we have some crash outs.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what happens on Wednesday. So let's see.
Three
Wait
more
and see.
episodes on Wednesday.
Oh, y'all is
That
wild in the comments. I can't even repeat all that. Like,
I know I've seen that still. I see that. And on that note, we're going to end it before it gets into a different space. Listen, audience members, it's been a good conversation. Shout out to Elsid and Jay for joining me as well. We'll be back on, I guess, Wednesday doing some more lives on this. There's a lot more episodes to drop, so on Wednesday. So we'll definitely get. I might do another live tomorrow to kind of really go
I
deep with this
will.
episode.
If you need to just jump on, I'm gonna probably do live 1 through 5
Okay, you do it.
tomorrow.
You set it up, and I'll join you in
Yeah, because it'd probably be
YouTube
easier for your
and do it that
data
way. Yeah, that's
and
fine.
stuff.
Let me know what time you're
Okay.
doing it, and then I'll join you live, and then
All right, we'll
we
figure
can
out what time is good best for you after this.
calm. All right, audience. Appreciate y'all. Still uploaded, and don't crash out like some other people who have. Okay, but make sure you like, share, subscribe. You can click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you again very soon. Ta-da, ta-da.